All right, Taebyn, you know what?
What do I know? What?
What? What do you know? Do you know
I
anything?
don't know anything.
You know nothing.
I know nothing.
I know nothing. I know nothing.
Eventually.
Eventually.
I don't know what's
don't
happening
know
right.
what's happening.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh my God.
This is Barely Furcasting, featuring Teabyn, an Injured Nerves audio production. So, Mubark Fluff, everyone, every fur, every organism in the Potiverse. Thanks so much for tuning in. I am Barely Normal. And Taebyn has already lost it. I am Barely Normal, a co-host with Cinnamon Toast.
I love cinnamon toast.
And do you love Cinnamon Toast Crunch? The cereal, too?
I actually haven't had that, believe it or not. I don't think I have.
Wow, how could you like Cinnamon Toast and not have tried the cereal?
I actually even know about this. I don't even know what's wrong with this pup. I think I probably got distracted or something, and because I do that.
Okay, so everybody that's listening, when we go to a con, I want you to bring him a little pouch of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yay! Crunchy pup. That'll be good.
Crunchy pup. Ooh, you'll make a new song about Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Crunchy pup. I can't even do that. I'll have to work on that.
I don't know. Well, as I said, Taebyn, you are here with me today.
Yeah, that's right.
How are you?
Hi.
How are you, my furry friend?
Hi. Yes, it's really great to be here. We're doing really well. Hello, every fur out in the Potiverse. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Taebyn. I'm a pup. Bark. And it's been a good week, good day. We're at the beginning of season 2.
Beginning of season 2.
That's amazing.
Of our show. It's amazing.
And how have you been, Barely?
I've been pretty darn good lately. I started working out again after my trip to Bend. I came back and my back was tweaked. And as you know, you've experienced my tweaked back once or twice at cons. I think we were driving back from BLFC last time, and every time I turned wrong, I would grimace. Not grimace like the McDonald's commercial, but grimace, in pain. So you've seen that. So,
I have seen that before.
So I have a quick question for you.
You do?
Did you happen to check out the Russian Lord of the Rings on YouTube?
I did. I did.
It's so bad.
I did not watch the whole thing. It's broken into 2 parts, so I just kind of watched little tiny tidbits throughout of both the parts.
Yes.
And one part I did, and I only knew to watch this because of one of the comments was, it's when the Nazgul puts the sword through Frodo.
Oh,
Did you happen to see that part?
I did not. I watched the whole disappearing ring part, which was just so bad.
So when the Nazgul stabbed Frodo, then this really urgent and strong and loud accordion started playing, and it made it all epic or something. I don't know. But no, you're right. The whole thing was they did not have the same production value, for example, as Peter Jackson did.
No, I think they kind of did it in somebody's garage.
And then someone else's garage, and they had to move from place to place, so that's why each scene got so different. So shout out, all you furs, go to YouTube and search for Russian Lord of the Rings, and you'll see what we're talking about.
Right. So the sun is out. It is May, and we have started gardening this year.
Oh, have you done it not correctly before?
Well, last year was the first year we tried to do a vegetable garden, and my mother-in-law and sister-in-law said, we're planting vegetables. I was like, okay. So they tilled everything up and then basically just sprinkled seeds. Oh, sprinkle, here's cucumbers. Oh, sprinkle, here's corn.
In a very haphazard way.
Yes, as we called it, the spray and pray method. I mean, they bloomed, they blossomed, we got some vegetables, but they didn't thin them out as we did things, and so the carrots grew all intertwined with one another.
They really didn't care at all about that.
They didn't care at all. No, they were very very huggy carrots, I would call them. So
huggy carrots is a new variety.
Right, and some of them were really tiny little baby carrots.
Okay. So the haphazardness really did not pay off.
Did not pay off, no. So this year we're doing it right. We had a little bunch of starts. We got the little trays. We put the seeds in it individually, and we have individual plants, and we will plant them in the garden this year.
Nice. Do you have little signs so you know where they are, or do you just remember? Okay,
Nope,
good.
little signs. Yep, little signs that will write on what it is. Until it grows up, it's like, oh, that's a pepper. We know that's a pepper.
Then you kind of
So
know, like,
yeah.
oh yeah, that's the one that did all the tweeter storms, the pepper.
Right. So I have a hunting story that I would like to share.
A hunting story from the bear. This is kind of a topturvy hunting story because it's usually not the bear.
I know. So the neighbors across the street are actually going bear hunting soon.
Oh, so you're staying indoors?
I'm staying indoors. And they asked me, have you ever hunted bear? And I said, no, I've always had clothes on.
I got it. It took me. I got it.
But anyway, we're starting off season 2 wonderfully now, just wonderfully. Anyway.
Oh, well, I'm glad we had a good season 1 because apparently that's it for us.
That's it. Yeah, no one's going to listen. It's like, nope, canceled after season 2, episode 1. Yeah. I want to give our weekly challenge to every fur out there. Reach out to someone on Telegram and start up a one-on-one conversation and talk to them in real life.
Wow.
There you go. That's a challenge. So what have you got for me, Taebyn, as we go into season 2?
I have some things for you going into season 2. First of all,
you rhymed. Wow.
I did. It's amazing. So first of all, we did cover this, but I want to cover it again. How are you doing, Barely?
I'm barely here.
Okay, that actually was it says question for Barely, and that was actually a surprise question. That wasn't actually the first of my 2 questions.
That was the okay. Gotcha.
Okay. Question for you is, and this is something maybe you know because you know lots of things. What do you? Sorry, I don't know. What do you call an alligator in? Let me start this over. What do you call an alligator in a vest?
I don't know. What do you call an alligator in a vest?
An investigator!
Oh, God. Okay.
Okay. All right. So I have another question for you.
Okay.
In a chat, like just today or yesterday, Snowy Dutchie was talking about how they went into McDonald's and asked for tater tots. And they don't have tater tots. So
no, they don't have tater tots.
They don't have tater tots.
They have French fries.
They have French fries, and Snowy wanted tater tots apparently, and just wasn't thinking where they were or something. Anyway, so they didn't. Whoever was at the employees didn't ask anything about it. It just gave Snowy French fries because, like, right. And so Snowy said that they gave me fries, and they said they went on the literal instead of going for a more cerebral explanation.
Okay.
And so this, caused this pup some problems. And so I said, and I'm wondering, and this is a question for you, like, so cerebral explanation, what is a cereball and why does it like pineapples so much?
A cereball is much like a winter ball where you go and you dance very formally.
Oh,
That's the cereball.
Okay.
You have to be there, and you have to be dressed formally to dance, and you have to have a date. You can't go stag.
So you don't have a pineapple, you have a date instead.
That's right. You don't have a pineapple, you have a date.
Okay.
With your cereball.
These are so I got my vegetables mixed up there when
I
didn't even do vegetables. I did the fruit.
You did fruit. Yes, exactly.
Wow. There was a lot of that was a journey.
Confusion there. Yes.
I knew you would have the answer. That's why I asked. I have so many things for you, Barely. I have a question about the past and future. So some fur tweeted the other day that your past doesn't have to rule your future, which is great advice. It's like, that's great.
Absolutely.
Don't dwell on the past and all that good stuff. But then I was wondering, so I tweeted back, I wondered, so what about your present? If your future rules your present, does that mean you know what you're getting for Christmas?
Yes, it does.
Okay, good to know. See, you know all these things. Also, okay, another thing I have, Discord recommendations. So, Discord and everything, and it's very popular these days and everything.
Yes.
And there's different servers, and so people want to know what's a good server and everything. And so they were tweeting about this, or I forget where they were doing it. And so I gave them my recommendation. I said, I think Chili's, because they have excellent servers. And season 2 begins.
Season 2 begins, and we're going to start our season 2 5-minute furs. I'm going to post the link to see if anybody comes in. I feel we might have somebody that speaks Dutchanese or something like that pop in. I don't know.
Dirty knees and Dutchanese.
Dutchanese. We were chatting a lot today on the BFFT chat. Kind of got away from us, if anybody have seen
Really?
that chat.
Would you say it went off the rails barely?
I would say it went off the rails. Yes, it did.
If what happens if you...
If it will. If you will.
Yes. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Okay, we got it in if nothing else.
If nothing else. Okay, so we're going to jump right in while we're waiting to last week today. And actually, it's last 2 weeks ago today, because last week's episode was our season finale clip show. I hope everybody enjoyed that show. I know I enjoyed putting it together. It was a lot of fun. During our episode 51 with Pepper Coyote, he asked a question about any background dancer that made it big, because we were talking about being in the right place at the right time to get famous, to become famous. And he asked, has any background dancer ever made it big? And we all said, we don't think so. However, our chief fact checker, Rain Raccoon, let me know that Tupac Shakur, if you know who Tupac is, he moved up from being a roadie to a background dancer for Digital Underground to being a star. Pepper, there you go.
Is that the rapper? Who is that? I don't know who that is.
Yes, he's a dead rapper now. But he was a rapper, yes.
And you know, after Christmas, like after everyone's opened their presents, there's lots of dead rappers on the ground. So,
we apologize to anyone in Shakur's family that we are not trying to insult
sorry. Oh my cow!
Oh no! Okay, and then we're going to start a new little segment called the Fluffsters Abridged Dictionary. Now that's a hard word to say, Fluffsters.
Fluffsters Abridged Dictionary. Bop, bop.
Which is where we define and give definitions for some of the words that are used in the furry world, and in the more importantly, the Taebyn world.
There you go.
And,
more in Puppendly.
Right. And today's word is plufferdine, and you have heard Taebyn use that word a lot over the past year. That's
one of the originals, I think.
Mm-hmm. And it is a verb, and the root of the word is pluffer, and it means one who pluffs.
Nice.
Now you can also use it as a noun, which is a fluff who pluffs, as a title for there. So,
fluff
like
who pluffs.
A fluff who pluffs, and a formal pluffer is trained at Plufferdine Flufferversity.
I want to go there. This is just amazing so far.
Plufferdine Flufferversity, yes.
And has anyone ever been trained in this?
Yes. So there would be a sentence would be, James the Wolf is a trained Plufferdine and teaches at the Flufferversity about the importance of pluffing.
That's a very important thing he's educating on, I must say.
He is. And Taebyn pluffs all the time and could be called a Plufferdine, although he has no formal training.
That's true.
We have a sincere scientist on the line.
The line has a sincere scientist.
Hello, sincere scientist.
It picked my name for me.
I know.
It does that.
So who do we have the pleasure of speaking with?
This is Brutus.
Brutus!
Oh, the big
I was
kitty.
wondering if you were going to come on the show or not, after all of today's really bad puns in the BFFT chat.
Well, and I don't think he's actually heard any of our any episodes, so I don't know if...
I don't know what I just walked into, but I'm prepared.
Hopefully you didn't walk into a bar and hurt your head.
No, that was last week.
Oh, okay.
No, that was it. And he couldn't have, because he's a kitty and he's prepared, he just said. So
Prepared, yes.
So we're ready. So hi, Brutus. How is it going? How is your day treating you and all that good stuff?
It's been pretty good. I woke up.
That's a good start.
That's always good, yes.
Nice.
Always good to wake up.
And then I ate.
Well, nice. Well, that's good.
You have this amazing journey of a day already. Your excitement, I weigh so much for your excitement right now. Oh, and hi, by the way, my name is Teabyn. I'm a pup, bark, bark. Hi, welcome to the thing. And thank you so much for sharing your journey that you had already this day. It's amazing.
I was just getting started. Hold on. That only goes up to 12 p.m.
Okay.
Oh, there's more?
Okay. What else happened?
So at 12:35, I decided it was time to take a shower.
Oh, good for you.
It took you 5. It sometimes takes a while to decide these things.
But as a kitty, do you take showers? I don't think kitties like water.
No, I just lick myself.
Okay. I see.
So that lasted 15 minutes or so. I don't know.
I lost track of time.
Yeah. Okay, good.
As most kitties do. So Brutus, where are you from? Where do you call home?
Texas. Fort Worth.
Texas. Wow. So you were right there in the whole concept of the Texas toast conversation today.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not from Texas, but I'm just saying I'm living in Texas.
Okay. Where are you from? That question is begged.
I am from the Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
And how long have you been over here, kitty?
Since 2013.
Okay.
Wow.
And what brought you over from the wonderful, mystic, exotic place called the Netherlands?
Basically, it was more of an educational thing. My brother was going to college, so he actually got a full ride to a university in Massachusetts. So he went to Babson for his first year. And then so we're like, oh, we don't want to move to like over there because it's super expensive. And it was already expensive in the Netherlands. So we're like, okay, let's just move to Texas. So then he still went to Babson in Massachusetts. And then when it was time for me to go to college, I went to North Texas University. And then he transferred to Baylor. So we're all in
Nice.
Texas.
There
So
you
what
go.
did you study?
I studied, I kind of cheated because half my mom's side of the family is Japanese. So I was actually a Japanese major. And
Okay.
You cheated, kitty. Oh, wow.
well, I was a double major in Japanese and communications with a minor in music.
Oh, cool. Nice. So that means when you were digging coal, you weren't. You were always entertained because you had a minor in music.
We don't
So
want
I-
minors.
We don't want minors in music. No.
You don't. Okay, good. So, what do you do now these days, kitty? You purr, you take a shower, you eat things, and that's amazing. But what else?
Basically, I had a career change. I don't do anything with Japanese anymore, actually. I thought what I was going to do, because COVID hit, I wanted to, after I graduated, go to Japan and teach English over there. But since COVID kind of like said no,
Put
Right.
a damper
I
on that.
decided to focus on things that I really enjoy, which is composing music and also doing voiceovers. So that's what I'm
Nice.
doing now.
That's exciting. Ishni Sanshi,
Yeah.
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I did it. I counted to 4.
Oh, okay.
5 is a goal.
It is Ishni Sanshi Go Rok.
Yeah.
I forget.
Oh.
I forget. Ishni Sanshi Go Rok.
Nana.
Nana. Oh, that's right. Isn't there another? Some do
Sichi.
Nana, and there's some do
Sichi.
Sichi. That's the word I knew. Sichi.
Yeah, also 4, they don't use she that much because I guess she is also the Japanese word for death. So they try and avoid that.
So you use yawn. Is that right?
I try to
Yeah.
avoid death whenever I can.
Yeah,
Yes.
and even some like buildings, they actually skip floor number 4 just because they're very superstitious about that kind of stuff.
It's just like here. You might have seen some hotels and some buildings don't have a 13th floor. They don't just skip they just don't have a floor 13 because 13's the superstitious
Bad
thing
luck,
here
yeah.
anyway. So and how long have you been doing the voiceover and music thing, kitty?
I started back in 2014, but I started taking it seriously for music. I started back in 2014, and I literally had a Rock Band microphone, and I was just recording into Audacity.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
That works.
And then up until 2 years ago, I started taking it seriously because it's something I really enjoyed doing. So, and then for voiceovers, I started that back in 2017, maybe 2016, but back then.
Nice.
Nice.
You have a soothing kitty voice. So do you play a lot
He does.
of soothing kitty roles in your voiceovers?
Not really. I usually play monsters.
Oh,
That
okay.
that makes so much sense. I can see it right now. It's
I think
Well,
a soft-spoken monster is a lot more scary than a growly monster.
Not with this voice. This
Oh, well, give us a monster voice.
is, what do you want me to say?
I don't know. Just say anything.
give us a monster voice that says, Hello, mother. Hello, father. Greeting from camp. Kitty Wana.
What?
Hello, mother. Hello, father. This is me from camp saying, hi.
There you go. That's a monster,
And there it
all
is.
right. There's
there
a monster.
It is. I feel even... Now say that like in your normal voice so that we can see which is scarier.
Hello, mother. Hello, father. This is me from camp.
Yeah,
That was actually really, really scary. I like the
I was
monster.
scared. I was scared the second time more than the first time.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Because, like I said, someone that's calm is what more scarier than someone that's not. What are you going to do tomorrow?
You're asking a lot. I don't even plan ahead that far.
Wow, okay. Well,
I plan on sleeping, maybe.
sleeping is good.
Okay, that's good. Do you think you'll play the accordion
Tomorrow?
tomorrow?
Or at any
Specific-
time.
Yeah. But
At any time,
specifically
yes,
tomorrow.
but tomorrow, no.
Oh,
Tomorrow,
okay.
no? Okay,
Tomorrow,
well.
okay. Do you think you will sit on a hamburger fruit tomorrow?
Actually,
Hamburger
yeah, I
fruit.
Oh,
have one in the fridge.
You have? Okay, good. So it's a possibility. Well, keep us apprised on that because this is important, and it's important to know these things. So I'll be looking forward to your report.
Okay.
A squish fruit burger.
So and for everybody listening, the background music that you're hearing behind us today for the 5 Minute Furs was composed and given to us to use by Brutus, actually himself.
So
Yes.
if any fur likes that and would like to commission, I'm just going to sell you right now, Kitty. So you're stuck. If any fur would like to commission and have some wonderful original music made for them from a kitty, then please reach out to Brutus. And I'm sure he's since he didn't even know I was going to make him do work now. I'm sure he's more than happy to do lots of work for some fur he doesn't even know. So there it is.
And he's got a lot of good. Brutus has a lot of good music on SoundCloud. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So currently, I'm working on 3 different furry visual novels.
Nice.
So I'm
Nice.
quite busy with that kind of stuff.
And so where can we find you on SoundCloud and get a hold of you and all that good stuff? Find out about your stuff.
So my SoundCloud name is Gator Tots, like alligator, and then
Oh, and
Gators
crispy
and tots.
chicken nummy tots.
yes, exactly.
Oh, I am I wag. I don't know if you know what you just said, but I wag about it.
Which is funny because just before you came on, we were talking about tots in another aspect.
Is there a planet called Tots?
Planet Tots?
Planet Tots?
Planet
As long
Tots?
as there's no small children and it's just food, I'd
Yes.
be fine with it.
Yes, exactly.
Good
Yes, it's
stuff,
the
good
food
times.
planet, not the child planet. Because a planet run by children could be rather bad.
That could be scarier than Kitty here speaking softly about Hello Mother Camp Father thing.
Well, Brutus, our 5 minutes are up. This is 5 Minute Furs, so we're going to let you go. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for being a fan. And
Even
I'm
though he's
sorry-
never heard an episode.
I know who's, and I apologize for all the puns that you didn't quite get earlier today. So,
I'll learn. But I do
All right.
appreciate you guys having me on here.
oh, you're
No
quite
problem.
welcome.
Thanks for coming on,
All right.
and we'll talk to you later. Kitty, go have fun purring all around.
Nice fur. He dropped a few musical riffs in the BFFT chat the other day, and so I reached out to him on DM, and I said, "Hey, where can I find your music, and can I grab some for the podcast?" And he said, "Absolutely, go for it." So we have some new background music in addition to Reg Day, in addition to the YouTube music that I use. We now have some music from Brutus. So media. So I started watching a show on Amazon Prime called Counterpart. It stars J.K. Simmons. Now you may know J.K. Simmons from the Farmers Insurance ads on television, where he says, "We insure a lot because we've seen a lot."
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
The guy that
I think I've
takes
seen
you
that,
around.
yeah.
That's J.K. Simmons. So the problem with watching the show with him is as soon as he came on the screen, all I could think of is "We are farmers." Dun 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 dun. dun.
That is a problem. So it's kind of hard to get in the right mindset for the show because you've got that on
Right.
your mind the whole time.
The show ran on Stars. It was a Stars original for 2 seasons, 2017 to 2019. There's a rumor that season 3 may come out on Amazon because Amazon bought it and they may redo it and make it more, I don't know, Amazon-ish.
Amazon-esque, yeah.
Yeah. The premise is, and this is not any spoilers, but the premise is that J.K. Simmons is a low-level bureaucrat that works at a clandestine operation that has opened a portal to a parallel Earth.
Ooh, what?
Ooh, yeah. And his counterpart, the other person from that is him,
hence the name,
comes across. Yeah. So after one episode, it's pretty good. It's actually not too bad. I'm going to watch some more of it.
This sounds really actually interesting. I really think I want to check this out.
Yeah, it's pretty good. If you have Amazon Prime, it's called Counterpart. It's an old show, but it's new on Amazon Prime.
Right.
So,
yeah. No, I'll check it out. Really cool.
Yep.
Nice.
I started reading the Rick Griffin book, Traitors, Thieves, and Liars, The Final Days of the White Flower.
Nice.
I'm about 3
Love
chapters
the Rick
in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good little book. Unfortunately, it's one of like 23 books now that I'm trying to read.
Yeah.
And as I read different ones, it's like, wait a minute, no, this is a different story. I have to think about which storyline I'm in because.
Do you switch between books, or do you wait till you're done with the book, or how do you?
No, I switch between books. So like I'm currently reading 2 books by Kyle Gold, the Rick Griffin book, and 2 books by Ruckus.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay, so you get confused.
I get confused. It's like they talk about a ship, and it's like, okay, is it the ship from Ruckus? No, it's
Ruckus
okay, it's this ship. Yeah.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. How did he come back to life? Oh, wait, no, that was...
Right, no, it's a different story. Yeah.
So, of course, I have to ask, so what are the Ruckus books, and what are the Kyle books that you're reading?
Well, I'm still reading the full Waterways series.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm.
And Dude, Where's My Fox?
Good. I haven't started that yet. I want to read that.
Okay. And then I'm actually reading in parallel the storyline about the dog. God, I can't think of the name of I can't think of the name of the book. I'd have to look it up. But the dog that goes to become the husband of the ship book, the book about the ship from Ruckus.
Oh, Heretic.
Heretic, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
right.
Great.
And,
I love that book. So good.
And I can't think of the name of the other book, but there's a parallel book to that, which is kind of like the side story or something along that line. They talk about different things that happened.
Ruckus, so Red Lantern stuff, but that's not.
The Red.
Oh, it is Red. Okay.
Yeah. So they kind of run in parallel.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard to read them at the same time because it's like, oh, wait a minute, this didn't happen yet in the other story, so I have to think.
You just spoiled
this
yourself.
This is going to happen. I spoil myself. It's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't read that. And hey, Rick Griffin, if you're listening to the podcast, we'd love to have you on the show.
Yes, definitely.
Since we've had the other 2 authors that we just talked about have been on our show, so you want to come on our show. Yeah.
No pressure. No pressure
at all.
And if you listen to this, which you're probably not, but if you are, this is the pup that hugged you on stage at RMFC 2016. So I would love to hug you at least virtually again, 5 or however many years later. So yeah.
And then just today, a friend of mine texted me and said, "Have you seen Monster Force 1 on Amazon Prime?" I was like, "No."
I haven't either, no.
So it's a really bad movie. Well, it's not a great movie, but his 3-year-old picked it. They were picking movies, and he picked Monster Force 1. Now, if you watch it, they go to a Galaxy Fest convention, and it's part of the opening credits. Opening credits. It's kind of a hodgepodge of everything, but there are real live furries at this conference.
This is exciting. I wag.
Yeah.
I want to watch this just for that.
Yeah. And then there's a big party scene later on because I'm skipping through it, and there's furries in there. So
awesome.
it's kind of funny.
What?
But
Monster Force 1?
Monster Force 1, yes. I'm sorry, Monster Force 0, not Monster Force 1. Monster Force 0. Yeah.
No, this sounds, I'm really excited to check this out. Yeah.
It's definitely a C-level movie.
Okay.
Not at C level, but not
an
at A, not a B, but a C. So,
not even a B-side. Nope.
Not even a B-side. So, and that's all of my media. What have you got, Teabyn?
Let's see. So this week, we finished season 4 of Mike and Molly. I didn't realize it was that old. Season 4 was 2013. For some reason, I
Wow.
thought Mike and Molly was
Moldy. Mike and Moldy. Yeah.
Mike and Molly. So no, that's the furry version, Mike and Molly. So it's about
Yes.
like gophers and stuff. No, but season 4, really like season 4. Watched a little more Lucifer, of course. That's great. We started season 4 of Young Sheldon, and I think.
Oh, good.
Have you seen the whole season?
We're current on it, yeah.
You're current. Okay, yeah. So no, it's great. It's good. Still, we're only like 3. No, we did episode 6 for the 6th episode today. But still, of course, as you know, Young Sheldon, annoying as, oh my lord, oh my lord, oh my lord. I'm so glad I do not live with that. Love the show, love the show. And we started Enterprise. And
Good.
Of course, this came about because, you know, we talked about that recently. And you were saying the new Star Treks are really good. And I'm a Star Trek pup, but I haven't seen the new ones. I'm sorry, every fur... I don't know why I'm sorry, but I'm just going to say it's true. I'm Star Trek pup, but I haven't seen Enterprise or any of the new ones. So anyway, we started Enterprise really good. Only seen a few episodes. And I tweeted a poll about how I started Enterprise and everything and listed, so which of these Star Trek captains is your favorite? And I listed Kirk, Picard, and Archer. Of course, Enterprise's captain. And so a fur said to me after he saw the results, he just laughed because the results were like 7% Kirk, 7% Archer, and 81% Picard or something, and he laughs about that anyway. So anyway, my favorite is Picard. I mean, Archer's pretty good so far, but as I say, I've only seen 3 episodes.
Well, now you've got to subscribe to Paramount Plus. That's all there is to it, because I'm sorry, you're going to have to plunk down the money and subscribe to Paramount Plus so you can watch Discovery.
That's right. You were saying you really like
Yes.
that. Yeah. We'll watch
And
that
then they have a new series coming out in 2022.
Oh, really?
With Captain Pike.
Oh,
which
okay.
is-
Okay.
Which is pre-Kirk.
That was
so-
Enterprise's captain before Kirk, if I remember right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Now Admiral.
Admiral Pike, yes. So, but he's dead now in the future.
Well, I mean that happens, I guess. So.
I guess, yeah. So there you go. There you go.
And the last piece of media I have is: do you remember several weeks ago I talked about the woke joke book that I got?
The woke joke book, yes.
And so for no spoiler, go back and you hear about the woke joke book, find out exactly what that's about. But my honey sold it for $3. If you can believe
He
that.
sold it for $3.
A whole $3. Someone actually bought it for $3.
Nice.
But of course I paid $9.99 for it, so okay. Whatever. But that would be my media for the week.
Well, that takes us now up to our classic comedy bit. It's a classic comedy bit.
We bit it off. And it was more than we could chew, that's for sure.
For every fur listening, this is a Abbott and Costello bit, and Taebyn will be playing the part of Lou Costello, as normally he does.
You're funny.
I will be playing the part of Bud Abbott. So this is called the fodder sketch.
And when it's actually called like several different things depending on where you go, but eventually you get there. But yeah.
And so here we go.
So barely, I just bought this racehorse and I got to take care of him. So I got to start with the basics. What do you feed a horse anyway?
Well, a horse eats its fodder.
He eats his fodder?
Certainly.
Okay, that's fine. So then what does his father eat?
Well, he eats his fodder.
Oh, well, what do you know? Then what does the horse's mother eat?
Well, of course, she eats her fodder.
What? Are they cannibals?
Well, certainly not. Every horse has to eat his fodder.
Okay. I see. Well, not really, but okay, I'll accept this. So he eats his father, and then his father eats his father, and his mother eats his father, and before you know it, there will be no fathers left for Father's Day.
No, 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 no. To feed a horse, you take a bag and put his fodder in it.
You mean you put his father in a bag?
That's right. And you hang the fodder on his nose.
What are you even? What world are we living in? Okay, now that's just a pretty picture. A horse walking around with his fodder hanging around his nose.
No, will you please make sense? Now, if you intend to keep that horse around, you'll have to take care of him yourself. You're going to have to be the horse's groom.
I'm gonna have to be the horse's what?
His groom. You said you loved the horse, didn't you?
Well, I mean, yeah, but I'm not gonna marry him.
Oh, no, 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 no. When I say groom, I mean you have to curry the horse.
Are we going to dinner now? What?
No, curry.
So, curry the horse.
That's right.
You see, I think he's big enough to walk for himself. I'm not gonna curry him around.
Okay, so now if you're going to run the horse in a race, if the track is wet and muddy, will he run well?
I mean, I think so.
Well, what I'm asking is he a mudder?
How can he be a mudder? Ain't a she always a mudder?
Well, certainly not. Sometimes a he makes a better mudder than a she.
What do you know? The times we're living in, I'm glad we're very gender and not and sensitive to these things these days. So, okay, suppose the mama horse has little horses. Does that make her a mudder?
Well, no, that depends on her feet.
Well, you learn something new every day, don't you?
A mudder is a horse that likes to run in the mud on account of having sore feet.
In that case, I guess my horse is a mudder because I saw him limping on his 2 front feet.
Oh, he's having trouble with his forelegs, huh?
What'd you say?
I said he's having trouble with his forelegs.
I just got through telling you he was only limping on his 2 front legs. His 2 front legs.
Your horse's forelegs are in front.
4 legs are in front? Then what are those things in the back? Crutches?
You don't understand. Your horse has 4 legs in front and hind legs in back.
4 legs in front and hind legs in back? What, I got a centipede? A centihorse? It doesn't matter because, my horse only races on 3 legs anyway.
Only races on 3 legs. What does he do with the other leg?
He trips the other horses, of course.
Oh, get out of here.
I mean, he cheats. He's a dirty horse.
And there you have it, friends,
have
furs, and our Bovida. That is our classic comedy sketch for today.
For our bravida.
I hope you enjoyed that.
I do too. I know I did. Did you, Barely?
I enjoyed that. That was a sketch that I always enjoyed watching Abbott and Costello do that sketch.
I have never actually heard or seen that one. It's a pretty good one.
It's a pretty good one, yeah.
So check in, Barely. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You know what time it is?
What time is it, Barely?
It's time for our guest. And our guest this week...
yeah. It's not just us. We have a guest.
We have a guest. We always have a guest. Well, we try to have a guest all the time. Our guest this week is Matt Baume, who is a podcaster, author, furry, YouTuber.
He is
a little bit of everything.
everything.
And
Oh, wow.
Amazing,
Oh, wow.
amazing person. So let's get to Matt.
Yes, let's get to Matt. So for any fur that knows Matt Baume, we hope you enjoy our talking to him. And if you don't know him, please listen because this is an amazing, amazing fur right here.
Joining us today is Matt Baume, who is quite the furry and podcaster and YouTuber and author and journalist, telejournalist. You have quite the pedigree. Thank you for coming onto our show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you. And I haven't introduced myself to you yet, Mr. Matt. My name is Teabyn, and I am a pup bark bark. Thank you so much for being on the show with this fine eve. It's nice and sunny out.
Yeah, it's one of those nice, just getting into spring Pacific Northwest days.
Yes, I love those days. The air smells so fresh and fun to my little puppy nose and stuff like that. So, what brought you to the fandom, Mr. Matt?
That's such an interesting question because there's so many stories and I literally can't remember which one is true.
Okay.
So I I have been a long time, I guess, adjacent because I was actually just talking to my partner about this a few days ago. Way back in the olden times, when I was in college, around 2000 or so, the subject came up of it was somebody going to a website in a browser on someone else's computer, and they typed an F to go to FinalFantasy.com, and it brought up Furry.com. That was the doorway in, I think, to the whole world. Like, oh my goodness, 20 years ago.
All it takes is the wrong Google autocorrect, and you're done. Your life is over now. You're a furry.
Yep.
It's
Yep,
great.
that was it. Well, and so I was, adjacent and aware of the community, and would follow along online. But it was only, I think, in the last couple of years that I really started writing about the fandom.
Oh, okay, cool. What do you write about the fandom in and stuff?
So recently, I've had a couple of articles in The Stranger here in Seattle. That's our local alt weekly about the furry community and cons. I went to a local con and reported on that. Wrote recently about furry experiments in sexuality and in virtual reality, and working on another article about that on that topic. When the pandemic started, I wrote a piece here about whether or not a fursuit was sufficient protection against COVID. And so I guess that qualifies.
I think I saw that. That was you.
Turns out it's not. Yeah.
That was you. Okay, that's interesting. That I think I saw that. Okay.
Yeah, whenever there's an angle, I try to get on it.
Mm-hmm.
So what? Of course, I have to ask. What con? You just referenced a con up there. Which con did you go to?
It was Rainforest.
Oh, okay. So like the
Mhm.
last one, I assume.
Yeah, it was
2015.
indeed. I'll say, like, I was there every day, and there are stories about some bad behavior that came out afterwards, but I had a lovely time. Didn't see any anyone misbehaving. Obviously, it just takes a few people to cause some problems, but it was it was a really lovely weekend.
Awesome. My first con I was actually registered to go to that. That was going to be like my first con, but then they canceled. So, but good. That's exciting. Have you heard of Anthro Northwest or Spokanthro?
Yeah, I haven't been as connected to the groups, and it's something that I'm hoping to change once the pandemic is hopefully receding into the distance, and we can actually go out and have in-person interactions. I would love to go to more like actual face-to-face, or at least mask-to-mask meetups and parties and stuff like that. It's something like I've got so much happening on the internet, and I've had so many social situations that are online that I'm really looking forward to doing stuff with actual other individuals.
In the actual fluff. Wouldn't that be great?
Mm.
Well, I really recommend Anthro Northwest is up there in Seattle. I've been going every year since it started. And Spokanthro has had one in Spokane. They're hoping for next year. Anyway, those are two local to you that hopefully you'll get a chance to go to.
Spokanthro is a very small, intimate con. So think maybe 200 people, 200, 300 people
Like
max.
300-400, yeah.
Yeah, that was my very first small con, and it was a lot of fun. The cons I've been to has always been huge, where you can't do everything at all. And Spokanthro is great because it's like, okay, well, everybody's done this to now, so now we have downtime, so let's all just socialize.
Oh, that's great.
So, Barely, you have this note in here about a recent fur aficionado. I'm proud of myself for being able to say that word because I am just a pup. So maybe it's a puppionado, not a aficionado. I don't know. But what's that about, Barely? And Matt, I guess. Educate me. Help.
Well, when we were doing Matt's dossier,
You have a dossier.
it came up that you had recently started. I know you said you were adjacent for a while, but it's just been a couple of years. Now, have you created a fursona?
Yeah, that work is in progress.
Uh-huh.
I like way back in the day went to, gosh, what was it? It was CritterCon, I think, in 2002 in San Diego. And so I had a little bit of interaction face to face then, and then kind of, it was just sort of like drifted away and wasn't really a part of the community or anything. But more recently, I've been writing so much. I've also been streaming online, and a lot of the folks who come into the chat now are furry. And as time goes on,
Nice.
a rabbit fursona has evolved. That is,
Ooh.
yeah. So the rabbit's in progress. I have actually I commissioned some art, so you can see that now on my Twitch channel. It's at twitch.tv/Matt Baume, and we're in the process of figuring out a name. We're kind of circling around Fenric, and we have like a lot of different last names for him that are under consideration.
That's cool. This is like it's all exciting, of course, but this is definitely one of those exciting points with the fursona, the creation process, and the getting your fursona to come to life and all that. So it's a nice creative process. That's That's wonderful.
So have you suited yet at all?
No, not at all.
Never.
And I tend to be a very like I'm very cold. I'm always cold, and so this might actually be a great idea. Like just purely for my own comfort.
Just
Like
nothing
getting
else. I'll be a bunny, and that's like a perk, but really I'm doing this because I want to be warm.
Yeah. I did actually, when I was at Rainforest, there was a panel for people to make their own tails. And so I went to that, and
Nice.
they had patterns and materials and needles and thread and everything. So I do have a rabbit tail around here someplace. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where it got to, but I do have a rabbit tail.
It hopped up somewhere. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So you currently reside in Seattle, but apparently there was a long road to get there. So tell us about that.
Yeah, gosh. So where I first discovered the fandom was in Boston. I was a student at Emerson College there. That's where I met my partner, James. And then we moved to San Francisco. I had a brief stopover in Los Angeles to finish up my college. I was a film student. Moved to San Francisco to do some work in media and entertainment there and journalism. Then back down to Los Angeles for a little while. I worked on the Prop 8 trial, which is the lawsuit that re-legalized marriage in California.
Oh, cool.
And then once we won, great, cool. Now what?
So I'll move away.
You
Yeah.
have no purpose now. Yeah.
There was really a need to live in a place that was rainy and chilly and had bikes and beards and the LA lifestyle didn't quite us. I also like neither my partner and I are really big into car culture and driving, so we looked at a whole bunch of different cities, and Seattle really attracted us. It was Seattle, Portland, and Chicago, and also Boston. But we did that with we'd been there. So Seattle, we knew some folks in Seattle, and I really like the vibe. It's a generous city, especially coming from Los Angeles, the city where I felt like people were really kind with their time and consideration. And so Seattle won, and I think it was the right choice.
Wait a minute. You thought Los Angeles was a kind city, or you thought Seattle was a kind city?
Seattle.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't know what Los Angeles you were in, because I've never been treated that way in Los Angeles.
I would love to see that Los Angeles. Yeah, no,
Right.
yeah. I tend to judge a city based on like how readily people bust their trays in restaurants, and it never happens in Los Angeles, and people are very diligent about like cleaning up after themselves in Seattle. So that's how you can tell.
Yep. And it's got, Seattle has wonderfully huge furry scene there too. So that's great. So we've already referenced a little bit about all the extensive amount of media you have. So let's talk about that. So your YouTube channel is really great, really big, and 85.5K subscribers. That's amazing. And for good reason. People weren't just like, oh, I want to find another YouTube channel to subscribe to. So here's one. No, there's an actual good reason. You've got lots of really great videos. So tell us about how long you've had it. Why did you start it? The audience, the types of videos you do, your vision, and then all that good fun stuff.
Yeah, so the YouTube channel is a place for me to do videos. Primarily now, it's been a lot of different things, but primarily now, the YouTube channel is a place where I post videos about LGBTQ milestones on TV and film. So it might be gay episodes of an old sitcom that you remember, or something about, a classical gay movie or something like that. So I'll often take, an episode I'm working on right now, in fact, about a gay episode of Friends, and talk about like the background and how that episode came to be and how it went and how it could have gone better. I had one recently about some of the queer behind the scenes stuff that happened with Bewitched, and the LGBTQ subtext of the show, and also some of the text of what was going on in the lives of the people who were making it. Gosh, what else? I've got one about The Simpsons, about the episode of The Simpsons that John Waters guest starred on.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I'll have to look at that.
It's fantastic. Yeah, it's Star Trek. I've got one about the episode of Star Trek where there's one of the early gay kisses, same-sex kisses between two women on Deep Space Nine.
Oh, nice.
So just dive on into the history and the backstory and some of the you might not have known surprises of LGBTQ television.
So a big question I have to ask on The Simpsons: Smithers is gay, right?
I love you, Smithers. The feeling is more than mutual, sir.
I think that has now been confirmed. It's hard for me to stay up to date with a show that's like got that much content, but I think at this point, like he's been on gay floats. He's actually in the John Waters episode. He they have like they have some drama between him and the John character.
Oh, so gay, gay. And I remember a Star Trek episode. I don't remember at all what episode it was or anything, but it was a Next Generation episode. In the very beginning, I forget, you're watching the main Beverly Crusher and Jean-Luc or something are walking. And then in the background, walking the other way, are two males holding hands. Very, I mean, they're obviously a gay couple. And that always, but then there's nothing else in the episode about it. It was just something at the very beginning. There's this little hint of there's a gay thing there. And that was very cool. But anyway.
It's something that Gene always promised and the show never really delivered on, unfortunately. He would often say, like, there's going to be gay couples, there's going to be a gay character. And I don't think he ever said couples, but he said there's going to be a gay character. And there were plans, and there was some, David Gerald, who wrote the original Troubles with Tribbles on the original series, had a script that was in development, and it just kept getting notes and notes and notes and never actually got produced until it was actually finally, it was produced by fans eventually.
Oh, cool.
I think it's called Blood and Fire is the name of it, I believe. But Next Generation, unfortunately, didn't just, it was one frontier too far.
Yeah, it wasn't quite there for Next Generation until, of course, all the reboots, it's all over, which is nice. I'm glad that it's finally done that. But yeah, they had a hard time getting over that fence. They really did.
Yeah, it's, part of that is just the product of what was on TV at the time and what the gatekeepers were willing to allow.
Right, yeah.
So
both the gatekeepers and the gay keepers in this case.
Yes, exactly. That's how they saw themselves.
Yeah. Totally did. Yeah. And so it's interesting you mentioned the Bewitched episode because, I haven't seen all the videos, of course, because you have so many, but they're all great. And like, as you're kind of saying, very educational. Shout out to our listeners. We have more than one. Take a look at some of these videos. They're very educational and very interesting and lots of awesome history. And so Bewitched is one I watched. And also one of the others I seen was the Mary Hartman episode.
Oh, yeah.
That was very, very cool.
Lesser known show, that one.
Yeah, very, very lesser known.
It was a show, it was like late 70s or so, and never really made it to syndication, or at least seldom made it to syndication. So it's not one of those ones that like was on Nick at Night for everybody. But it did have what I think is the first recurring gay couple on American primetime television.
Cool. In the 70s too. That's pretty ahead of their time. No, that's
way
exciting.
Back in the 70s. Yeah, it was a big mystery at the time, like what they were exactly, because they were first presented as brothers, and then they would talk about people finding out about the truth about them and what their secret was, and it was, they get hounded out of town if anybody knew, and eventually people find out, and it's not quite a scandal because fortunately everybody else in Fernwood, which is the town, has their own scandals going on. So
what?
Yeah.
It's something that Mark Cherry, who did Desperate Housewives and a whole bunch of other shows, once commented on how, I think this was in the 90s, gay characters or queer characters were becoming more acceptable because so many people had seen them on talk shows. No, it was actually that he said that so many people had seen worse on talk shows. So many people had seen so many other strange ways of living on talk shows that it was like, now gay people are like 10 freaks down the list, was how he put it. So
once Maury Povich and all of those shows came on and all of the weirdness happened, then gay couples were, like you said, 10 freaks down the list. Wow.
Yep.
And then 15 freaks later, there's furries, right?
It's been so interesting to see the change over the time that I've been like kind of keeping an eye on the fandom, because there was certainly a time 20 years ago when furries were just the butt of the jokes. And it was, there's this hierarchy of who gets made fun of on the internet, and furries were always at the bottom. And, I noticed maybe like 10 years or so, a change where people were like, oh, actually, these people seem good. And maybe it was because social media had sort of daylighted just like how loathsome other people can be, that, there was a perception like, well, furries may be unusual, but at least they're not doing this.
Right.
And suddenly it was like, oh, could be worse.
Yeah, I mean, they're not actually doing what all the media says they are doing.
Well, that too, yeah.
There came to that point. No, that's true.
There's a story that I read about, I think it was on Tumblr, someplace, this group of non-furries who were at a bowling alley, and I think it was somebody's like car got stuck or something like that, like, or the engine wouldn't start, and there just happened to be a busload of furries who would like all come in suits to the bowling alley, and the busload of furries helped like get like jumpstart the battery or some story like that. And it was a story that just like went around. It did numbers, like they say, and people, I just remember seeing it like, oh, look at all these people, like young people who are like, okay, yeah, furries are cool. And I'm like, wow, something has changed.
Something. Yeah. And there's also, I think it was in California. You might remember this, Barely. There was further confusion one year.
2020.
2020. Oh, Oh, so really recently?
Yeah,
Um,
it was the last. It was the last con before things went. Bleh. So-
yeah, but there was someone was getting mugged, I think, or something like that, and it
Oh
was like,
yeah.
yeah,
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 you
you're
heard
right.
about that. It was right outside for the confusion. So a bunch of fursuiters went out and helped, and yeah, that was in the news for a long time. That was very cool.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely,
And
it's
then there
things
was an
like
immigration thing as well, wasn't there? There's like somebody who had, I think this was in Canada. There's a family with a child who had immigrated recently. And I want to say like either the furries met the family at the airport and just, it was like somebody in a suit just to like, lift up the child's spirits or something like that. But there was this really heartwarming story about like a family of immigrants who weren't sure if they'd be welcomed. And like, it's just an extremely
I
stressful
remember that story.
experience.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was really nice to see them welcomed in such a friendly way.
Hmm.
yeah. It turns out that furries are like we're okay. I mean,
We're kind of
believe it or
friendly.
not,
We're
who
a
would have
friendly
thunk it?
bunch. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we like to hug.
If you're afraid of hugs, don't be a furry
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's gonna
that's
happen a lot.
run away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is Culture Cruise?
So Culture Cruise was what I was calling those videos for a long time, and it
Oh,
had this
okay.
whole like nautical theming around them because we're going on a cruise and we're on a boat, and then I've kind of streamlined them a bit, so it's just like just talking straight to the camera, and there's not this whole like premise of us being on a boat and going on a cruise anymore. I did dress up as a sailor for those videos, and
Yes, the Bewitched episode. I think you're dressed up as a sailor for that episode because I was watching that the other day.
I might have, yeah. So I think I might have mentioned Bewitched in one of the Sailor ones. So the Bewitched one, I'm wearing. I'm just in a t-shirt. I'm just comfortable in that one. But I think Bewitched
You're
has
just
come up several times in some of
Oh,
my back
okay, all right,
catalog.
okay, yeah.
okay, nice. So and so finally now, okay, Bewitched has come up so much. Let me do something about Bewitched.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And so you had mentioned Twitch streams.
Hmm.
What are those about? What's the premise? What's the audience? How long have you been doing it? What made you want to start it? And all that good stuff.
Well, I've been on and off with Twitch for a couple of years. My partner and I would stream together. We were doing. I think we started with some of the Zelda games. We did some of the older
Oh,
Final
nice.
Fantasies because we actually met in college, and one of the ways that we got to know each other was that the folks that I was living with had the good TV, and James had the PlayStation, and so by our powers combined, we were able to like all get together and play Final Fantasy.
Nice.
And so that was one of the ways that and Dragon Ball Z was one of the ways that we bonded early on. And
Cool.
so yeah, so we streamed that a couple years ago, and then I would do semi-frequent streams. I think it was on Mondays and Fridays, where I would do what I called Let's Reads, where we just read some piece of like classic literature, like I just read it out loud, and then we talk about it, and that was fun. And then that kind of fell away a little bit for a while, and now I'm back doing every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and it's a mix of stuff. Sometimes we'll play some games, sometimes we'll just hang out and chat, sometimes we'll watch some old videos because I love looking at like weird old media. So we'll call up some like bizarre clips that I've found in like my strange like research of TV shows or commercials and theme songs that have disappeared into the ether, and I've kind of resurrected them. For the last few days, James and I have been playing a lot of Monster Hunter together. So it's very fun to go on basically monster hunting dates, and
Nice.
folks in the chat are
Nice.
definitely helpful with pointing out either techniques or like, oh, there's the monster over there, go over there, and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Go to the monster.
yes.
Nice.
So, did you meet your partner in real life first, or did you meet him as an avatar first?
In real life, we were going to we were both going to Emerson College and working on some video projects together. There's a children's TV show that we were producing, that I was producing, and he was writing some stuff for. And he actually wrote a script and handed it to one of the other producers, and they handed it to me, and I found it in my bag and forgot that it had been handed to me. And I was like, who is this person? Why do I have their script, and why do I like it so much? So I looked him up in the student directory and left a rambling message on his voicemail.
That's adorable. That's adorable.
Yeah. And that's the first time that we had some serious interaction. We'd just been like sort of friends of friends of friends, or adjacent before that, but we really got to know each other following that.
Well, that's sweet. And you've been together for how long?
20-ish years.
Wow!
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's wonderful. Turns out 20 years is a long time. That's 16 years longer than I've been around. I've been alive because I'm just a pup, so I'm not very old and stuff. You were mentioning some of the Twitch stuff. You would just find old like hidden stuff in the media and in TV and whatever that would just pop up. Did some of that spawn some of your videos?
Oh yeah, very much. The live streams are very helpful for the videos actually,
okay.
because there's no way I can know everything that's out there.
Yeah.
So just, in the process of, I'm working on a video about Friends right now, and that'll probably be up on my channel by the time that this airs. I'm aiming to have that up in early April. So, researching the history of the Chandler character, who is for a time conceived of as potentially gay, and I'm, digging through these interviews about him and finding old clips of episodes. And as I'm doing that, I'll do some of my research on the live stream, and folks were like, "Oh, do you know about this episode of Saturday Night Live that Matthew Perry hosted,
cool.
where they actually had a skit that depicted Chandler as a gay character?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't know about that." And they pointed me to that, and somebody else pointed me to an interview with Lisa Kudrow where she talks about how she thought the Chandler character was gay, and so that was really helpful. Somebody else works in a research library, and when I was talking about this one, there's a reference to this Chandler's connection to this actor named Franklin. It's not Franklin Pangborn. It's Edward Everett Horton, who played kind of coded gay characters in the 30s, 40s. So this viewer who works in a research library was like, we might actually have a book about him. Let me look that up. And he actually found a book that had some, I would never, because the libraries are closed. I wouldn't have been able to go if I wanted to.
True. Yep.
He was able to dig up this one line about this guy, some queerish aspects of his career that I would never have found otherwise.
Wow.
So my viewers are super helpful. And often on the live streams, they'll either help me with the research, or sometimes we'll just have fun. And a while back, we were looking at, what was it? It was theme songs. We're looking at Saturday morning and afternoon cartoon show theme songs with an emphasis on the furry shows. So, I don't know, Biker Mice from Mars and stuff like that. and Lone Star, Rescue Rangers, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So we're diving through all this stuff, and I don't know that there's a video that's going to come out of this, but people were sharing their early childhood furry influences, which was just very fun to hear.
That's
from people.
awesome. Yeah,
Our viewers tend to just correct us with all the things we say wrong.
That's good too. I mean, I appreciate that. I don't want to be wrong about stuff. So if people are ready to correct me, I'm here for it.
Yeah, and you mentioned this is so amazingly off topic, but I am a pup, and that is what I do. Barely can definitely concur to that. But you mentioned when this episode comes out, and that reminded me, you are going to be, or are, our first guest in season 2 of our podcast. So thank you for being our very first guest.
Yeah.
That is super exciting.
We've been doing this a year, and you are hitting off a great season 2. So
I'm good. It's all uphill from here.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. So, also speaking of podcast, you have a few podcasts. So, how long have you? Same questions. How long have you had them? Premise? What's your audience? What did you? What started it? And what are they all about? All that good stuff.
But before you answer that question, I have to ask you: how do you find the time for all of this?
That's a very good question.
I don't have enough
Okay.
for all of it. That's the answer. No,
it's
too much. It's too much.
You've invented a time machine so that you can go back in time and do more because you've already used up all the time you have. That's very prolific of you.
My unfair advantage is James, my partner. We work on a lot of stuff together, and he's sort of often unsung and behind the scenes, but he does a ton of work to help me with all the stuff that I produce. It's really with a lot of it, it's a collaborative team kind of pop effort to get all this stuff out. So it's not just me. It's the two of us working together on a lot of stuff.
Well, that's good.
Cool.
That's good.
Cool. Yeah, it turns out it's very useful to have some other fur. Is he a furry too?
Not really, but we've been harassing him into it.
James, when you're listening to this, just embrace the furry. It's so much easier. It's so much easier. Yeah.
We've been talking. We've been talking about a capybara persona for him. So we'll see if that happens.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Don't fight it. My husband is not a furry also, but extremely supportive and goes with me to cons and stuff. So I understand.
But he does technically have a fursona.
He does actually have a fursona technically. So so maybe he's getting there too. We'll all get there.
So getting back to your podcast. Let's talk about you, not us. No, you don't. Nobody cares about us. They listen to us. You're our guest.
So Sewers of Paris is the main one right now. It's a podcast. Gosh, I've been doing it for a couple of years where I talk to a different guest every week about the entertainment that changed their lives. So I talk to different LGBTQ folks about the books and movies and TV and songs and games that have shaped them into the queer people that they are today.
Nice. And that's
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
What was that
That's
called?
the Sewers of Paris.
Oh, the Sewers of Paris. Okay, okay. And you
Yeah.
also have Queens of Adventure.
Yeah, yeah. So that one's on hiatus at the moment,
Oh.
but we've been doing that for a couple of years. It's drag queens playing Dungeons and Dragons.
What else are they going to do, right?
Of course, yeah, like they would. Narrative comedy adventure with a bunch of drag queens based here in Seattle.
Okay, so my question to you is, what's your favorite drag queen name?
Ah.
Oh my goodness, that's a tough question. So, gosh, James and I have always joked about like legs akimbo, like having a drag character with that name. But I have toyed. It's never actually happened. I've never like pulled the trigger on it. But I've always said that my drag character is going to be a old mystery solving character named Agatha Crusty.
That would be an amazing drag name, especially for that personality.
Waiting for the opportunity to pull that character out. It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But who
So-
knows?
so
Could happen.
We'll have to pull it out for the new Pride Festival that when it comes back after COVID. I
There
mean,
you go.
because everybody's going to be
Yes.
over the top when the first Pride happens after COVID, man. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Well, if it's a secret, if Agatha Crusty is a secret, you don't have to worry because we don't have too many listeners. So it's not out of the bag.
Great.
Yeah.
Keep it under wraps.
And so you also more media.
Mhm.
Again, I echo barely in that. How do you, even you and James, how do you even have time for all of this? So you have a book called Defining Marriage. So tell us about the book.
Yeah, so that came out of the work that I did on the Prop 8 trial in California. So I was working like inside the machine, behind the scenes on the lawsuit to re-legalize marriage. California had marriage for like one summer in 2008, and then it was banned again. So this lawsuit got started. It was backed by a lot of folks, a lot of big name Hollywood celebrities were behind it, as well as some like super powered lawyers. And I was brought on kind of early in the process to do some of the research and communications for it, which is pretty, there's a lot of like really dry legalese involved in a lawsuit, as you might imagine. And part of my job was making it a little more exciting and interesting and accessible. And so I would do videos about what was going on, infographics, and try to make it a little bit more understandable and keep people informed. So in that process, I would talk to tons and tons of people who've been involved in marriage equality for the last 40 or so years, going back to the 1970s, and they all had incredible stories about how they got involved and why marriage was important to them, and how their relationships were informed by this decades-long fight to have their families recognized. And they started writing stuff down and recording their stories and put it into this book, Defining Marriage. And it's the behind the scenes personal stories of the struggle to legalize marriage equality.
Very cool.
Starting in around the 1970s, which was not really the beginning of the marriage equality movement, but there was a couple things that kind of kickstarted what had been fairly quiet and hypothetical, really, movement up until then. It started to become real around 74 or so. So, I just went back to the folks who were there and got their personal stories and painted a picture of this like long arc from then until today, and came out just after the Supreme Court ruled in 2015 on the Obergefell case that legalized marriage equality again across the country.
Wow, very, very cool. Nice. Wonderful. Sounds like history going on in there and over decades. So that spanned how many decades then of those stories?
That would have been 4 decades.
Okay, so for the full time.
A lot of generations, a lot of different families.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. Very, very cool.
Have you done any work internationally for LGBT rights and marriage equality?
Here and there, a lot of countries are frankly ahead of the U.S. in a lot of areas. And one of the international things that I did that was, it wasn't quite so legal. It was more about community. In 2017, I went to a whole bunch of different countries' prides in Europe and photographed and documented those. The Advocate was very generous about supporting some of that work and made it possible for me to do that. So, just went from one city to another to document what does Pride look like in all these different countries. And we're coming up on the 50th anniversary of Stonewall, so it was a timely time to make that documentation happen. And really interesting to capture the different ways the different cities and different countries commemorate the police riot, rebellion against authority, and also celebrate the strength and the resilience of the community, and look forward to what's ahead for queer folks.
What do you, so that's very interesting. So what really stands out to you in these different cultures, different countries and everything about the differences of their takes and how they celebrate and their viewpoints on Pride?
You know, one of my favorite, in fact, I think my favorite, the one favorite Pride that I went to was probably Paris. And I didn't, you know, obviously there's hundreds of Prides, and I didn't get to go to all of them. But what I loved about that one is it was quite unruly. Everybody could just walk in the parade if they wanted to. There were no like barricades or barriers. There wasn't anything really official like stopping you from just getting involved. And so you could just like mill around the parade and walk alongside it. And there was sort of a chaos energy to it that I loved, that felt very queer, and it felt very in the spirit of Stonewall, that really was a community effort. It wasn't, you know, a board of directors. Obviously there's a lot of organization that goes on behind the scenes to make the parade possible, but you know, it wasn't like you needed to get a permit to walk. And I really loved how democratic it was, you know, which isn't to say that like, you know, you can have a perfectly lovely pride experience with barriers as well when you just stand there. That was my experience in San Francisco, for example. I photographed San Francisco Pride many a time, and that one can be a little long. It can be a little lengthy. I can
probably imagine that, yeah.
And, you know, there comes a point where you're like, how many more floats for a bank do I need to see?
Right, right. Yeah. Well, I mean, Portland's that way now, too. You go to the Portland Pride, and the parade is like 3.5, 4 hours long. And it's one more twinks dancing on a pickup truck bed. Hooray.
But in a slightly different fashion than the one ahead of it. So,
yes. I also really like Reykjavik. I went to Iceland's Pride, and what's lovely about that one is something like fully 2/3 of the country attends Pride, like in Reykjavik, because it's like the one big city, and it is a very sweet event. It's very I don't want to sound like I'm being condescending about it, because I'm not, but because it's a smaller country, it tends to be smaller in scale than, say, you know, like London Pride, and so a lot of the folks know each other. So it's a lot of, you know, like a con kind of people seeing each other again.
Cool.
It's a pretty speedy parade, and then there's a little festival out on in the park, and there's some music, and some people have picnics, and then everybody packs up and goes home, and that was a day. And you know,
that sounds awesome.
You know, you get in, you do your Pride, you get out, and you're done.
Efficient.
Also, Iceland is such it's a very queer friendly country. So, you know, it's a safe environment. It's a supportive environment. People just, you know, have a great time. I don't think I saw anything homophobic, like no protests or counter protests or anything like that in Reykjavik. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Just a really lovely, supportive, nice
cool.
place.
Would you like to go back?
I would love to.
Yeah.
I loved Iceland. It's, you know, like I said, I moved to Seattle for the, you know, cold, gloomy weather.
and since you love
and it
the
does
cold,
not disappoint.
Yeah. I like it. I like, you know, and as we're recording this, there's a volcano erupting in Iceland right now. So I love just how dramatic and flamboyant the country is.
Dramatic. The whole country is dramatic and flamboyant. Hey, as I can see it now. If you're coming in, about to land in the plane, as you approach, the whole country is just waving, "Hello, everybody out there. How you doing?" It's just exactly.
Yeah, it's friendly, honestly, very like compassionate place. I really liked Iceland.
Nice, very exciting. And so you have the book, but you also have news contributions, of course, as you've mentioned, The Advocate and Stranger, but you have like lots of others, I think, don't you?
Yeah, so I write for quite a few outlets right now. The concentration is around The Stranger. I'm writing a lot of coverage for The Stranger about various topics, a lot of queer culture stuff, but not just that, also a lot of nerd culture stuff. I just wrote a piece today about some games that are coming out later this month that I think everybody should play.
Nice.
We're recording this at the beginning of April, and so I think a lot of people are excited for Pokemon Snap at the end of the month. There's a lot of great indie games that are just like constantly coming out. So I write about like nerd culture for The Stranger, pop culture stuff, and of course furries when I can get away with it. You know, we don't want to turn it into like, you know, competition for Dogpatch, but I'm happy whenever there's an excuse to write about the fandom. I'm happy to do it.
Nice.
We love you, Dogpatch. That's good.
Shout out Dogpatch.
Mhm.
Very good. And you've had little things in like Out magazine and San Francisco magazines and things. Were those just kind of one-off things people would ask you to write for them, or how did those go about? And what are those about?
Yeah, so I've written for, gosh, let me think. Quite a few publications. So I've written for Vice magazine, and I'm working on a piece for Input magazine right now about furries and VR.
Nice.
Working on, gosh, who else? Who else do I write for? For sure, like The Stranger, and then The Advocate. I wrote for The Advocate for quite a while. Bay Area Reporter in San Francisco, one of the oldest operating LGBTQ newspapers in the country. So yeah, for a long time I was just doing that like freelance lifestyle where my byline was just popping up wherever I could get it. I've done some writing for Rolling Stone.
Wow.
What did I write about for Rolling Stone? International Mr. Leather. I wrote
Oh,
about the leather competition in
nice.
Chicago.
Nice. Yeah.
For Rolling Stone. Then for NPR, I reported on drag Christmas shows for NPR.
Very
There's
specific.
always this proliferation.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
yes.
awesome.
There's tons of queer celebrations of Christmas. So I covered
Right.
that for National Public Radio.
So I have to ask you, have you covered at all the adult puppy play scene?
I have for The Stranger a couple years
Oh,
ago.
wow.
Okay.
When it seemed like there was sort of a pup renaissance going on, maybe around like 2006 or so, or 2016.
Puppetons.
A puppessance.
Yes.
And so I wrote a piece for The Stranger about like, what is pup play and how do you get into it? And how do you know if you're a pup? And there is a really big, one of the things that I love about Seattle is that it's a really sex positive city and particularly kink positive city. When we were looking at moving to Seattle, I remember made a few friends here and talked to people. And afterwards I was like, what is in the water in Seattle? Like, everybody seems to have a dungeon. Like, there's so many folks who like either they're poly or they have a dungeon or both. What is going on? Because everyone I talked to was like, oh, this is my boyfriend, this is my boyfriend's boyfriend, and this is our dungeon.
Right. Yeah.
It's just so many folks. So anyway, so I wrote about CPAW, which is the pups and handlers here, and the sometimes friendly, sometimes more not standoffish, but that they have less overlap, the pup and the furry community in Seattle. And so anyway, wrote a big piece about that and the great work that the CPAW does, because they do a lot of really good community building here as well.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a limited crossover between the puppy world and the furry world, especially in California. You go to the cons in California and you've got puppy panels and stuff like that, and the pups around doing their stuff even during the regular con time. And I'm fairly new to the furry fandom. About 2017 is when I came in, so that was also the time when puppy play was coming into the fandom, because we were at FurCon in San Jose, and that was the first year they allowed a panel, which was kind of funny because there was lots of adamant they should not be part of the furry community. I was like, why? For a community that wants to be open and accepting, why are you excluding them from your world? And nobody could give me a good answer when I asked that question.
I'm always a little skeptical of gatekeeping and people who are
Yeah.
like, there needs to be some sort of like, I don't know, purity test for participation in a community. And obviously, if something is adult in nature, there are measures you can take to make sure that people who are appropriate are participating. But yeah, I'm skeptical of folks who are like, well, we need to look respectable so we don't spook the horses.
Right.
Because I'm a pup that spooks the horse all the time, so I understand.
And the other thing about furry is, and I did a lot of research when coming into the fandom, and, coming in, I found out that there was a long time when at cons, if you were in suit, they would not let you speak.
Yeah,
You had to be silent.
That was further
It was
confusion.
a very strange thing to find out.
Yeah, I know further
Yeah.
confusion did that. It's only about, it's probably been about 6 to 10, I don't know, 6 years now or something. But at one point at the con, you had to be a silent suitor and everything. So we're making progress in the furry world, accepting puppies. Animals can actually talk now. It's quite wonderful and amazing. I think some listeners out there would be really interested to read that puppy play article you wrote. When was that? Do you remember?
Oh, goodness. It was 2015 or 2016, I think. Let me see. And the article is something like, let's see if I look up Stranger Pup Play, Matt Baume.
Good old Google.
June of 2015. What is puppy play and why is it so popular? Is the headline.
Okay, June
nice.
of 2015. That's awesome. I'll have to take a look myself. Great. So yes, hi. How's your evening going?
Not bad, not bad. I've been, like I said, chugging away on this script for the video about Friends. So, which these scripts always take me, like the videos take me down all these like interesting avenues of research. It started off being about the gay Chandler character, or what could have been the gay Chandler character. And so a lot of digging through archives for that, and been watching a lot of clips of the folks who made Friends, made a show after Friends was a hit. They were like, let's see if we can do that again. So they tried to do it again with a show called Veronica's Closet that wasn't
Really?
quite a hit for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, I remember that show. Yeah.
Okay.
It did have an actual queer character on it who has a coming out episode, and it's quite good. And so I've been like reviewing it and looking at it like, what are they doing right about this? And really what it comes down to is support. His friends are supportive when he comes out, before he comes out, because he comes out in the third season. And so up until then, his friends use gender inclusive language, saying things, like they're very aware of their language. You can see them thinking through like, you're going to make someone very happy someday. Like they want to say something nice to him, and they're careful not to say some man or some woman. And then when he does come out, they're happy. They applaud, they shake his hand, and they hug him. And it's so nice and so different from what might have come a few years earlier on a show like Friends, for example, which comes out of an era where coming out episodes are either a big joke or a big crisis. So it's nice to see that the folks who made Friends got basically a do-over on making one of their main characters gay, and were able to do such a good job of it.
That's very, very, very cool. So I have to ask, so what is, because you mentioned you find some bizarre things sometimes when you do this digging, what do you think is one of the most bizarre things you've either just found or made a video about or whatever that came from just your inadvertent digging into this stuff?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I will say that like one of the weird things that I've got going on with this video is, and this was actually the result of people pointing me in the right direction. I mentioned that Saturday Night Live skit from, maybe late 90s, early 2000s, where we see a kind of speculative version of Friends where what if Chandler had been gay? And one of the SNL cast members, Colin Quinn, is doing an impression of Chandler, but if Chandler was very gay.
Yeah.
And weirdly, like it's just a weird skit to begin with. But weirdly, he's doing this voice that is, he says that it's meant to be Ed Wynn, which he's the character actor who's the Uncle Arthur, I think, or Uncle something from Mary Poppins, the guy who's floating on the ceiling when he laughs. So he says the voice is supposed to be a mix between that and Edward Everett Horton, who's this sort of played the frustrated bellhop type characters in a lot of movies in the 30s. And it's not that at all. It's actually Snagglepuss is the actual voice that he's doing. It's just clearly Snagglepuss.
Awesome.
And so that led me to one of my favorite Snagglepuss appearances, which is just obscure commercial from the 1950s, probably late 50s, early 60s. It's an ad for Cocoa Krispies, where it's Snagglepuss singing a song about Cocoa Krispies and just doing his very Snagglepuss affectation. And I love it.
Greetings and hootenannies. We're gonna give a hoot about Kellogg's Cocoa Krispies. I'm gonna sing.
Oh, no!
Remove them physically. And you join in with Heavens to Murgatroyd when I point at you, with my finger even. The cocoa bean is lovely. Now,
Heavens to Murgatroyd!
'cause it's chocolatey, don't you see?
Heavens to Murgatroyd!
It puts the cocoa in Cocoa Krispies. They're as chocolatey as can be. Ooh.
Heavens to Murgatroyd!
Wait a minute. Hey, knock it off.
Chocolate shake!
Only crunchy.
From the top!
No.
For chocolate shake!
Hey, cut it. Chocolate shake.
Murgatroyd!
Hold it. Try 'em. Heavens to Cocoa Krispies.
It's so silly and it's just ridiculous and fun. And, of all the talking animals, I think Snagglepuss is one of my favorites.
Nice.
Nice.
That's wonderful. Is that on your YouTube, or is there a link to it?
It's gonna be it's gonna be in the Friends video.
Oh, okay, cool.
And also, it's already gone up. I will say, like on my Patreon, people see I do little previews and sneak peeks at what you can expect from upcoming videos. And so I've already put out a little sneak peek video where I include a clip of that Snagglepuss moment. So
Awesome.
if folks want to get a little sneak peek at stuff, they can go to patreon.com/Matt Baume.
Nice.
There you go.
That's wonderful.
There you go.
Is there anything that you would like our listeners to know about you, or something that we haven't covered that you would like to just let people know, let furs know?
Gosh, we really covered a ton of stuff. Here's what I would say is I'm always looking for stuff to write about and stuff to do videos about, and just interesting stuff going on with the fandom. So if folks catch wind of anything or are doing anything that is particularly surprising or funny or innovative, reach out, let me know about it. I'm happy to write about what folks are working on. And I also am aware of the community's sensitivity to media depictions, and I'm eager to provide a more balanced representation of what the fandom what the fandom is. And also I should mention I've gotten into VR recently. I've been doing a lot of VR chat with furs in various worlds, just like bouncing around from world to world and hanging out with people in VR. It's been super
In your
fun.
spare time?
Yeah, well, a little bit in my spare time. And a little bit for articles. I'm actually covering it for Input Magazine. I'm writing a piece about it. But it's also just like, I can't remember. It was Fernal Equinox, this
really
past weekend,
recent. Yeah,
2 weekends ago. And so just went into VR and hung out with people in like the recreation of a hotel room. They figured out how to clip through the wall of the hotel room out onto the balcony, which was you're not supposed to be able to get to in this world, but they figured out how to clip through the geometry, and everyone crowded out onto the balcony.
Yeah.
Just hung out there.
They're doing amazing things with VR these days, definitely. Where can, if any fur out there does want to let you know some things, where would they send you this information?
So you can reach me a whole bunch of ways. Best way is on Twitter, twitter.com/Matt Baume. You can also find me in VR. I'm Bunny Matt in VR chat.
Oh, that's awesome.
So send me
Bunny Matt.
Send me a friend request to Bunny Matt. But yeah, twitter.com/Matt Baume, or you can go to my website, mattbaume.com. I've got links to all my stuff there. And I have a little newsletter where I send out messages about what I'm working on, little sneak peeks stuff. Also cute animal videos, because I can't get enough of that. So
you can't get enough animal videos ever. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I wag. I'm wagging right now.
If you want some cute animal videos, head over to mattbaume.com, sign up for the newsletter there.
Awesome. So one of the things we ask our guests as we round out the interview is your parting shot, your words of wisdom for the furry community, or in your case, the LGBT community at large. What would you give as advice?
Wow, what would I give as advice just in general? I don't know. I guess, on one hand, I was just watching this episode where a character is being encouraged to come out, and somebody says to him, like, it's okay to be who you are. And it's a very nice message. And I am happy to see that, being, broadcast on television. It made me feel really good. Like, oh, it's okay to be who you are. It's a really nice message. I don't know. I guess aside from that, maybe I'm misquoting it, but I feel like there's from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, their slogan is like, be excellent to each other. Like, isn't that their
be
slogan?
Excellent to each other.
That is their slogan. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's my advice to everybody.
Love it.
Nice,
Short and sweet and true. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Matt Baume, everybody, thank you for coming on the show. Be sure to check him out, read his articles, read his book, buy his book, listen to his podcasts. And, if you can't find Matt Baume online, then you're doing something
You're doing
wrong,
something
because
totally wrong.
he is all over the place, let me tell you.
I try.
Yeah, he is all over the place. Matt, thank you for coming on our show.
He's even more all over the place than I am at a con.
Yes, but
I'm pretty.
He's all over the place. Yeah. So Matt, thanks for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure to have you. Thank you for being our first guest of season number 2 of this podcast. We're very excited to have you, and I hope you can come back on again.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes. Thank you so much. I hope one day to hug you tight with my posies at a con. That'd be wonderful. Until then, have a wonderful evening, and hug James for me, and bark bark.
I will do that.
Wow, Matt. Oh my God. I don't know how he finds time to do all this.
Even as I say, even with James, even both, I think even if he had 10 people helping him, I don't know how he could do that. But yeah, very prolific, very wow.
Yeah, his stuff is awesome. So listeners, go watch his stuff, watch his video, listen to his podcast, read his books. I can't say this enough. One of the things that's funny is when I said we were having him on the show, my husband said, I know him. I subscribe to him on YouTube. And he says, I have his book, Defining Marriage. And he pulled it off the shelf. He says, it's right here. So I was like, awesome.
Yeah, and I think as he was talking earlier, as I mentioned, he had written, I forget what he was saying, but he's written some article about something. And I was like, oh, yeah, I read that. So, yeah, I know who you are. Anyway, that was really cool. But yeah, really fun, cool guy. I can't wait to hug him in real fluff. That'll be great.
Yeah. And now it's time now for that famous section of our podcast, Furries in the News.
Furries! Furries! In the
Okay, I blame Moritz for that. Okay, so all right. So I see you have something for Furries in the News. I'm going to let you address it.
Okay. So, first of all, I was wondering if you would notice that other thing there.
Well, I noticed a thing, and I'm not sure what that is.
So tell us about that.
Do you want me to tell you about it?
I do.
Okay, it says begin, then pmatrix 1 and 2 and 1 // 0 ampersand dash 1 ampersand 1 / / 2 ampersand 3 ampersand 3 / end p matrix.
Oh, that's so great. So for now, I'm not going to tell you what that is because I want to know if any fur, like if there are any nerdy furs out there, you knew exactly what that is, and I want you to write in and tell us the answer. And then later, I'll tell Barely. But I want to see. I'm really curious to see if any fur gets that.
Okay, and I will actually copy and put that in the show notes for the show description to see if anybody can play with it. So, is that it?
No, there's more. There's actually more. That was actually
There's more.
I copy pasted something, and that's what came up accidentally. And I thought I'll leave it in and just see how it goes. So it'll be interesting to see if any fur gets that. But I do have Furries in the News. It's really cool. I don't know. You might or might have heard about this. So just today, as of this recording, this new Taproom opens up in Washington. It looks like it's in Bothell, Washington. It's called the Vulpine Taproom. It is owned by furries.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It
opened just today.
Owned by furries.
Yep. And so I would like to read a little bit about it.
It opened on April 22nd.
Opened April 22nd.
How did you find this?
Oh, someone tweeted it. Some fur tweeted it about it. And I just happened to be looking at the right time, apparently.
Wow.
And yeah, no, it's really cool. It's no joke. I'm not building up to a pun. This is an actual real thing. You can go to their website.
Everybody should know that sometimes we build up to things and it's just a joke. But this is not a joke.
This is a real thing.
Okay.
It's called the Vulpine Taproom, and you can go to lfpvulpine.com. So that's lfpvulpine.com and read all about it. And so I'd like to read a little bit about it. You go to their About Us page. It says, our mission is to give customers a locally focused space to explore beer and wine culture in a friendly, welcoming environment. We offer Northwestern beer and wine from our partners to ensure our customer receives the best experience. We have thoughtful beer and wine tastings, so please let us know if you would like any recommendations. We are a tap room in the Lake Forest Park Town Center in the upper parking lot. So this is in Washington. Looks like it's in Bothell. We have a variety of local beers and good selection of different types of wine. We offer caracherie, whatever that is, so note for next time. Sandwiches, salads, and snacks. Then it says dogs are welcome, age 21 plus only. And that, I mean...
Are the dogs have to be to age 21 plus
that's
only?
What I'm wondering.
People?
I don't know, but you see, I'm thinking it is a furry-owned place, so maybe the dogs do have to be. I'm not really sure. I'm a little confused on that. They might have done that on purpose. And so they have art, of course, on their walls.
Poor art.
I know.
Why would you hang art on the walls? I mean, maybe he'd like to sit down once in a while.
He was a bad boy.
Apparently.
So so they also have the drawing type of art on the walls
The
too.
drawing type of, okay, that kind of art.
And
Okay.
and if you go to their art tab on the their website, it says it shows a few of their arts, and it says if you know of any artists, have them send us a sample of their artwork, and we may display their work at our location. And their furry is furry owned, which is so amazing just from the beginning. If you have any furry art of your own that you would like to share, it sounds like you have a good chance of them displaying it in their showroom. So
Awesome.
yeah, go check it out. It's very, very exciting. Next time you're in Washington, take a gander. Support the furry community at the Vulpine Taproom.
Vulpine Taproom.
And that's my furries in the news.
That's your phrase of news. All right. Well, we have some upcoming events and new television shows.
We have a lot here going on. Yeah.
If you love Beastars,
Me love me some Lego she.
and its clever use of anthropomorphic animals, there's a show on anime on Crunchyroll called Odd Taxi. It's about a bear, I think it's a bear, who drives a taxi. And
Okay.
it's kind of like Taxi Cab Confessions. He has other animals come in and they talk about stuff
Oh, cool.
in the taxi.
Okay.
That's pretty much all of it is.
Sounds good.
I haven't seen it, but it's on Crunchyroll, so give it a listen.
I will have to do that. Yep.
Upcoming events, April 30th to May 3rd. So yes, when this airs on May 1st, this is going on in Glasnevin, New Zealand. Is the Southern Paws 2021.
Southern Paws 2021. What is that about, Barely?
I have no idea, but it's apparently a Southern Paws event at the Wapara Adventure Center. So there you go
Okay.
in New Zealand. So if
I like
you're
that.
there and you're listening to it, and give us a quick email, tell us what it was like.
And I love that it's Southern Paws in Waipawa Adventure Center.
And then next weekend for you Aussie furs on May 7th and through the 9th
The awesome Aussie furs.
is the Furry Down Under. It is in Surfers Paradise, Queensland, Australia.
Is it a FurCon?
It is.
Oh.
It's Furry Down Under. Furry Down Under, eh? What I say? I don't know. I'm bad.
That's better than I could do. That's good.
Furdu is resurrected in 2021, which is the Furry Down Under. That's what that is. Furdu. They call that Furdu. Furry Down Under.
Oh, I just learned something new. I did not know that. That makes sense.
Furdu. Furry Down Under. There you go. Recently announced Denver in 2021 is going to be in August. We'll probably chat about this a little bit more as it gets closer. But it's going to be a quote-unquote socially distanced con. Masks are going to be required. Everything's going to be 6 feet apart. Restricted capacities in rooms. So if you go to Denver 2021, keep in mind that that's going to happen. And please don't violate their rules because it won't be happy if you do.
Good for them, and I hope it goes well. The announcement that was posted actually says, because of contractual agreements, we are having Denver. So I'm not sure if they were wanting to do this until everything's totally safe or not because of all these restrictions. Because in Colorado they have all these restrictions. They've got to maintain social distance. I mean, I of course totally support this. This is amazing that they're enforcing this. But the social distancing, 6 feet apart. The front row in the main stage area will be 25 feet from the main stage, so that the performers don't have to wear masks and everything. They're being very safe and very good. It'll be very interesting to see or hear how it goes. So any fur that goes to this, let us know how it goes. We really want to know. Of course, that's in late August. Well, I'm sure we'll talk more about it as it gets closer. And the guests of honors are MOSFET and JFET so far. So, that's MOSFET's wonderful fur. Does the Fuzzbutt Fuzzbutt trading cards and has great videos and stuff. So MOSFET, if you're listening, we want you on the show.
Yes, we do. We've been trying to get you, MOSFET, so reach out.
With the posse!
It's a story time week, but we're going to do something a little different this week. I'm going to read an actual Grimm's fairy tale, and I'm going to let you make comments as I read, which means we will totally Taebynize this.
I have not read this story at all. I mean, I'm looking at the title. Don't even recognize the title, so I have no idea what this is about or anything. So I hope that my comments will enlighten us, since I know nothing about it.
So the name of this fable, or Grimm's fairy tale, is The Wolf and the 7 Kids. There was once an old nanny goat who had 7 kids, and she was just as fond of them as a mother of her children. One day, she was going into the woods to fetch some food for them, so she called them all up to her and said, "My dear children, I'm going out into the woods. Beware of the wolf. If once he gets into the house, he will eat you up, skin and hair and all. The rascal, often disguises himself, but you will know him by his rough voice and his black feet."
His black feet. You know, I think there's something, because we have the BLM movement right now, and I think this is a little non-PC. So, Mr. Grimm, did you not know this was going to happen? Poor mother, she has to deal with all this.
I know, it's the wolf. It's the terrible wolf. The kids said, "Oh, we will be very careful, dear mother. You may be quite happy about us."
She might be quite happy about us.
That's
I'm
what it
having
says.
trouble parsing that. Okay, we'll
That's
go with
what
it.
the book
We'll go
says.
with it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Bleating tenderly.
So is it a goat now if it's bleeding?
Well, it's an old nanny goat. It was.
Oh, it is a goat. Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot. This puppy brain. Okay, so that Okay, got it.
Yes.
Got it. I'm
So
still
she was-
with you.
Right, the bleating, not bleeding, but bleating tenderly.
Because she
The
hasn't
old-
run into the wolf yet, so she's not
No.
bleeding yet.
The old goat went off to her work. Before long, someone knocked on the door and cried, "Open the door, dear children. Your mother has come back and brought you something for each of you to eat."
I hope it's hinder fruit.
But the kids knew quite well by the voice that it was the wolf. "We won't open the door," they cried. "You are not our mother. She has a soft, gentle voice, but yours is rough, and we are quite sure that you are the wolf."
And we are quite sure that you have black feet.
So he went away to a shop and bought a lump of chalk, which
Was he gonna
ate.
like teach them math or something?
I don't know. He ate the chalk.
Oh, well, so he's not gonna teach them math because he
No.
ate his instrument to. Okay.
Right. And it made his voice quite soft. He went back.
Okay.
Right? It's like, who would think it'd eat chalk to
There
make
are
your voice
other
soft?
ways to.
Right. Okay. So he went back and knocked at the door and cried, "Open the door, dear children. Your mother has come back."
Chalk will make you. I wonder if he had the purple or the pink chalk. Maybe he had the khaki chalk. I don't know, because definitely the definitely the taupe chalk would not make you sound like that.
No. "Your mother has come back and brought something for each of you." But the wolf had put one of his paws on the windowsill where the kids saw it, and they cried, "We won't open the door." Wow, apparently the older child is speaking now. "Our mother has not got black foot as you have. You are the wolf."
Okay.
And then the wolf ran to a baker and said, "I have..."
What? Wait. Okay, so we need to, I really need a few seconds to understand what's happening. So Mr. Wolfie,
Uh-huh.
who is, okay, so we'll just go with Mr. Wolfie. He ate some chalk,
Right.
and because he didn't
And now
want to
he talks
teach
like this.
and he talks like that now.
No,
He
yeah,
didn't
yes.
want to teach the little kitties math, so he was so fed up that he didn't. So he ate the chalk. He's like, "I'm not gonna teach some math. I'm gonna eat some chalk." And now, because of the chalk, he wants bread. Is that
Well,
what's
no,
happening?
let's wait. Now he says, "I have bruised my foot. Please put some dough on it." Okay. And
What?
when the baker had put some dough on his foot, he ran to the miller and said,
The miller.
"The miller, strew some flour on my foot."
But why? There are
So-
so many questions.
So
Okay.
The miller,
Okay.
so the miller thought, this old wolf is going to take somebody in, and refused. But the wolf said, "If you don't do it, I will eat you up." And so the miller was frightened and whitened his paws. People are like that, you know.
Why can't you just eat the bread? I don't.
And now the wolf is now a wretch.
Now a
went
wretch.
for
What
the-
was it? It was a rascal, and now he's a wretch.
He's a rascal and then a wretch. Went to the third time to the door and knocked and said, "Open the door, children. Your dear mother has come home and brought you something for each of you out of the wood." The kids cried, "Show us your feet first, that we may be sure you are our mother." He put his paws on the windowsill, and when they saw that they were white, they believed all he said and opened the door. Alas! It was the wolf who walked in. They were terrified and tried to hide themselves. One ran under the table. The second jumped into bed. The third into the oven. Because, there's the oven.
Because of course not.
Right. The fourth ran into the kitchen. The fifth got into the cupboard. The sixth into the washtub. And the seventh hid in the tall clock case. But the wolf found them all, and all but one, and made short work of them. He swallowed one after the other. He swallowed one after the other, except the youngest one in the clock case, whom he did not find. When he had satisfied his appetite, he took himself off. I don't know what that means. And lay down.
The couch.
And lay down in a meadow outside, where he soon fell asleep.
Okay.
Not long after, the nanny goat got back from the woods. Oh, what a terrible sight met her eyes. The house door was wide open. The table, chairs, and benches were askew. The washing bowl was smashed to atoms.
Not the washing bowl.
The washing bowl smashed to atoms, I tell you.
Poor Adam.
I know. The benches were overturned. The covers and pillows torn from the bed. She searched all over the house for her children, but nowhere were they to be found.
Did she start?
She called them by name, one by one, but no one answered. At last,
I know exactly
what's
going to happen. I know what's going to happen.
A tiny voice cried, "I am here, dear mother, hidden in the clock case." She brought him out and he told her that the wolf had come and devoured all the others. Now, you may imagine that she wept over her children.
That's what I would imagine.
At last, in her grief, she went out, and the youngest kid ran by her side. They went into the meadow, where the wolf lay under a tree, making the branches shake as he snored.
What?
They examined him from every side. They examined.
Oh, examined. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Like, did they go to the stream and get a bunch of salmons and just throw it at the wolf?
And they could plainly see movements within his distended body. Ah, heavens, thought the goat. Is it possible that my poor children, whom he ate for supper, should still be alive? She sent the kid running to the house to fetch scissors, needles, and thread.
I'm so... okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having issues.
Then she cut a hole in the monster's side, and hardly had she begun when a kid popped out its head, and soon as the hole was big enough, all six jumped out. One after the other.
Hooray, I guess.
All alive, and without having suffered the least injury, for in his greed the monster had swallowed them whole. Now,
who is this Grimm guy?
You may imagine the mother's joy. She hugged them and skipped about like a tailor on his wedding day. I don't know what that means.
I mean, apparently tailors are really happy on their wedding day.
Apparently. At last she said, "Go fetch some big stones, children, and we will fill up the brute's body while he is asleep." Then the 7 kids brought lots of stones. As fast as they could, they carried him and stuffed the wolf with them till he could hold no more. Of course, the wolf is asleep during all this, so...
Of course. I would be, definitely.
And then the old mother quickly sewed him up without his having noticed anything or even moved.
He didn't know. Well, maybe one of the kids were like full of like Novocaine and anesthetic or something, so...
At last, when the wolf had had his sleep out, he got up and...
He had his sleep out? Is that what he said?
That's what it says. When the wolf had had his sleep out.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
He got up, and as the stones made him feel very thirsty, he wanted to go to a spring to drink. But as soon as he started to move, the stones rolled about and rattled inside him, and he cried, "What's the rumbling and tumbling that sets my stomach grumbling? I thought 'twas 6 kids, flesh and bones, but now I find it's naught but rolling stones."
Oh, Mick Jagger, you're a wily one.
When he reached the spring, he stooped over the water to drink. The heavy stones dragged him down, and he was drowned miserably. And the 7 kids saw what happened. They came running up and cried aloud, "The wolf is dead! The wolf is dead!" And they and their mother capered and danced around the spring in their joy.
Did they lox too?
They must have loxed and capered around the spring in joy.
Oh, the villagers rejoice.
So that was a Grimm's fairy tale.
That was very grim for sure.
It was very grim and very strange. These tales are very strange.
That's my summary about that.
So, Taebyn, we're not going to be able to continue on like this. Do you know why?
I don't know, barely. Why can we not continue on like this?
Because we've come to the end of the show.
Oh, it's not because this, like, I'm horrible and stuff. Okay, no, that's a better. I like this reason better. This is good.
We've come to the end of the show. Yeah. I hope everybody enjoyed our little play today. So I'm going to call it a little play.
It's a little play.
And we know you have your choice in podcasts, and we thank you for choosing ours.
Wow, especially if after season 1, episode 1, if we have any listeners left, we love you for it. Thank you so much.
Or season 2, episode 1.
What did I say? I said, see, yes. So especially if you heard season 1, episod 1, because
and
of
you're
how
still with us?
Oh my lord, oh my cow, so bad. I listened to it, and it's we did bad. So yeah, if you listened to that and now you're listening to season 2, episode 1, thank you so much. I must say.
We have come a long, long way. So until next week, I'm going to say stay furry and moo bark fluff.
And of course I say, which I've already said, but I'll say again, thank you any fur. Really, it means so much, especially if you listen to us all last season. The 1 year. We actually 1 year, every single week, we recorded this, and we're still going. We're going to do it. What am I doing right now? I don't know, but we're going to do it. And it's exciting. And thank you so much. It means so much to us if you listen to us. Can't wait to get to Con again and hug all you furs. We have plans to at Con to do a live recording of the play, I guess it's now known as. So that'll be fun and good. And we can't wait for it. So thank you so much. We hug you tight with pausies. We wag. Talk at you next time. We bark, we wag. Moo bark fluff every fur. Have a good week.
Barely Furcasting is an Injured Nerves studio production and is found on all major podcast platforms or can be heard directly at barelyfurcasting.com. The opinions expressed here are those of the hosts and their guests, and no commercial compensation was granted. The Furcast is produced, recorded, and directed by me, Barely Normal, aka Mike Began, and is edited by myself and our associate editors Rain Raccoon and Bixby Wolf. This week's interview is edited by Rain Raccoon. Opening and closing theme music, as well as some interstitial music, was created for Injured Nerves Productions for the use on the podcast by our music associate, Regday, with Damien Tanuki. If you would like to hear more of music by Regday, you can search for Tweezerbeak on Bandcamp or Hoop Loop Tunes on SoundCloud. Other interstitial and background music by Shane Ivers through silvermansound.com and the YouTube free use library. If you would like to send us a message, you can do so via email at barelyfurcasting@gmail.com or on our Telegram chat at BFFTchat, on Twitter, on our Facebook page, or on the barelyfurcasting.com webpage. You can support the show through donations at ko-fi.com/barelyfurcasting or through Patreon at patreon.com/barelyfurcasting. Thanks for listening. We hope you come back and listen next week.